It's not often that a public figure who makes a living in a tough macho profession like baseball admits to haunting childhood fears.
Fear of getting hit, even though it never happened. I think it was something that frightened me very, very much.
Baseball great Joe Torre grew up witnessing domestic violence in his boyhood Brooklyn home.
When she just wouldn't put the knife down, he reached into the drawer for the revolver, and that's when I sort of ran over.
Joe Torre is a baseball legend, an all-star player, and a four-time World Series winning New York Yankees manager who's trying to help young people today who face domestic violence like he did.
It was a disruptive household. I was a very nervous kid growing up.
Studies suggest each year more than 15 million children experience psychological and physical abuse. To discuss his efforts to help children, Joe and I met at the Brooklyn Academy of Science and Environment High School, where Joe Torre's Safe at Home Foundation has a Margaret's Place classroom organized to counsel troubled teens.
Margaret's Place, that's room 537. That's perfect.
Joe's a hands-on worker for his own foundation, and he makes frequent visits to classrooms like this.
Joe, we know that you witnessed abuse as a child. What has been the long-term effect on that and the formation of your personality as an adult?
Well, I have to go back, Bill.
Sure.
You know, I was very shy and no self-esteem. It was a disruptive household. I was a very nervous kid growing up. Didn't share the issues that were going on in my home with anyone because I just felt it was going on in my household only. And it was, as I say, I was very insecure, very shy, and not very, very confident. As far as witnessing what went on in my house, I probably witnessed the effects more than I witnessed my dad physically doing anything to my mom, although there was yelling, throwing food against the wall if he didn't like what she put on the table. There was one time where my mom and my dad were arguing over something in the kitchen, and as an 8 or 9 or however old I was at the time, I have a memory of my sister coming out of the kitchen with a knife in front of my mom, and my dad kept saying, Ray, put the knife down. Put the knife down, my sister's name, Ray. And when she just wouldn't put the knife down, he reached into the drawer for the revolver, and that's when I sort of ran over, took the knife out of my sister's hands and put it on the table, and I said, there. Everything else is pretty fuzzy after that.
You actually, as I understand it, were afraid to come home from school. Like if you saw your father's car, just tell us, give us little Joe walking down the street and there's your dad's car and what went through you.
If I saw his car there, I'd find a friend's house to go to until I knew he had left for work. Because as I say, he never hit me, but there was always the fear, and I'm not too sure that fear isn't worse than getting hit, because fear does strange things to you.
Today, children at this school who have fears are encouraged to share their personal stories in the anti-violence safe room called Margaret's Place, named for Joe's mom. We talked to Marlon, now a college student, who recalls how Margaret's Place helped him.
I took a lot of stuff internally. Whatever family issues was going on, I would blame it on myself. I would take the whole world on. I wanted to be, at one point, Superman, because I wanted to change so many things, and it kind of got to the point where I would break down constantly. My mom was worried about me. In junior high school and elementary school, I never really had friends.
How do you think you would be right now, Marlon, hypothetically, if this room, if Margaret's Place had not existed for you?
I would probably be like a lot of people out on the streets right now. I would probably have joined some kind of gang or associated with some kind of people, because that's what a lot of my friends were doing at that time. So I'd probably be fighting some kind of battle that wasn't mine.
Joe's wife, Allie, is the foundation's co-founder and board president, and she sees results.
These children leave their homes in the middle of the night sometimes, and they only have their pajamas on. They leave their teddy bears, they leave their toys, they leave that secure environment. This is a challenging, difficult task, but it's very, very important. The statistics are showing that this type of a program is very effective in ending the cycle of domestic violence and prevention of domestic violence.
But as a teen, Joe had no way to express his anxieties.
When we started our Safe at Home Foundation, kids I grew up with You know, and I'd run into them. They were shocked because I have a friend of mine who lives in California now, and I see him quite often. He used to come to the house and eat on a regular basis, but never, you know, never knew the deep, dark secrets that we were keeping.
High school junior Ashley came to Margaret's place because of secrets in her home, financial problems.
I felt like I was to blame for it because I have a little brother, and I guess I blamed myself for it because I felt if me and my brother weren't there wouldn't be really any financial issues. And I just felt angry. So it's like after more guidance from Miss Rebecca and my mother, I was able to see like it's not my fault.
But Joe constantly felt at fault.
I carried it all the way through my adult life. When I started playing baseball, even at the major league level, in order for me to feel good about myself, I had to perform well on the field. If I was 0 for 4, I didn't feel I was worthy. I thought I let people down.
After Joe got fired from the St. Louis Cardinals, he had a breakthrough at an enrichment session.
And it wasn't until that 3 or 4 day seminar where I found myself in day 2 standing up in front of perfect strangers and crying my eyes out. Stuff I never shared with anybody. Now, I'm talking about, 1995, December of 1995.
Not that long
where
ago.
I started connecting the dots.
Rebecca Rubin is a counselor at Margaret's Place who helps kids find ways to connect the dots through education, intervention, and art.
The art itself is the way that they express what they're going through. And if you look at the wall over there, there's poetry. And again, it's just a way for students to have a voice, to express themselves. The impact of domestic violence on kids is that they feel like they can't say anything, that they're silenced.
Joe took his personal experience with domestic violence public during a visit to the White House.
I'm thrilled to see Joe Torre, who's here, who understands this issue personally.
And he's using the same team-building prowess that helped create World Series champions to get big names to tee up in support of the Safe at Home Foundation.
Well, here's the World Series ring, okay? Now, your legacy. Margaret's Place, going into the future, or the World Series?
Well, this made me happy and a lot of people around me because they had to put up with me. Margaret's Place is going to affect so many children in a positive way. That certainly is head and shoulders above anything else.
Wonderful.